aspirants, welcome to Daily Chronicles by Abhiram Ias Academy. So, Daily Chronicles lo enti ante, like for suppose we take the newspaper and our newspaper lo important articles select chesi, we give you or we tell you the importance and also detail about those articles. Clear? So, ee roju Daily Chronicles lo we'll be discussing like 4 important topics with respect to the UPSC. So, the 4 topics are retail inflation, Global Gender Gap Report, which is given by the World Economic Forum. And also let's talk about the state and trends of carbon pricing 2025, which is given by the World Bank. And lastly, let's talk about the India's aviation sector. This is in news because yesterday the very sad tragedy has happened. Tragedy, that is, you all know, Ahmedabad plane crash. So in this perspective, we will discuss about the 4 articles. Clear? Chalo, let's start. The first article we'll be discussing about the retail inflation. Now, why this is in news? Because retail inflation eases to 6-year low. From the past 6 years, today, that is yesterday, they have taken the statistics and they have said that retail inflation is low since 6 years. Clear? So basically the article is telling that overall retail inflation has averaged to 2.99% from the year of 2025 to 2026. This is the article telling simply. Here you can see that it started at 2, now it is ending at the 2.8. Clear? So retail inflation eases to 6-year low. Now let's see what is the retail inflation. What is retail inflation? Give me a minute to adjust the board. So what is retail inflation? What is inflation basically? Inflation is nothing but simply the raise or increase in prices of goods. Prices of goods and services. Clear? Increase in prices of goods and services. Now, what is retail? You can see MRP. MRP is nothing but maximum retail price. Now, what does this retail means? Retail is nothing but our day-to-day goods and services like food and fuel or food and fuel, your beverages, housing, etc. The daily essential goods. Daily essential goods. Those are your retail products. So, retail inflation is nothing but the increase of goods and services. That is the day-to-day goods and services. Clear? So, now what is the article telling? There is a decrease of retail inflation. So, this retail inflation is also called as, consumer price index. Consumer price index. That is in short your CPI. CPI inflation. Clear? Retail inflation is also called as consumer price index inflation. Remember this. Now, let's see in detail. So, retail inflation, what is retail inflation here? Retail inflation is also known as consumer price index inflation, where it is tracking the change in retail prices of goods and services that households purchases, that is in common people purchasing, that is household purchase for the daily consumption. Simple? Now, next term. What it is reflecting? It is reflecting the overall price movement and purchasing power of the consumers. Clear? What is purchasing power? How much you are able to purchase the goods. Clear? So, it is reflecting the overall price movement and also purchasing power of the consumers. Clear? Retail inflation is also called as CPI inflation. Remember this. Now, how is the CPI index calculated? So, CPI index is calculated like cost of a fixed basket of goods in the current year and with respect to the base year divided by the base year. So, fixed basket of goods in present year divided by the fixed basket of goods in the base year multiplied with 100. Now what is base year for this? It is 2012. Now who measures the CPI? It is measured by the National Statistic Office under the Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. Clear? So the base year here it is 2012. Who is measuring this? NSO is giving the official statistics. What is NSO? National Statistics Office under Ministry of Statistics Program Implementation. Clear? So CPI is calculated for a fixed basket of goods and services which is periodically updated by the government. Further, the change in this price index over the time represents the CPI based inflation or the retail inflation. Currently, the base year is 2012 and CPI is expressed as the percentage change in the cost of fixed basket of goods in the current year divided with the fixed basket of goods in the base year, that is 2012. Clear? Now, see, I am telling that in this article, the retail inflation is been decreasing. Now, what it happens? So, let's see. Let's see the key aspects of CPI. One is the cost of living. See, if consider anything, if inflation is increasing, what happens to cost of living? Cost of living also increases. So, when the retail inflation is decreasing, what is happening to the cost of living? The cost of living also decreases. That is, goods and services will be available at a very cheaper rate. Clear? So, cost of living. CPI reflects how the price of daily goods and services affects the living standards of the population. Clear? Next is purchasing power. So, when the inflation is higher, what happens to the purchasing power? See, if you're having 1 rupee and a good is there, when this when the inflation is increasing, what happens to the purchasing power? It also increases. But now, if the chocolate price is for 10 rupees, what happens to the chocolate price? It will increase by the some X amount. It will increase. Clear? So, the purchasing power will increase. But now, retail inflation, as it is decreased, what happens to the purchasing power? The purchasing power reduces. Clear? So, what is purchasing power? It measures the change in the purchasing power of consumers and real value of the money. Now, next, what happened? Other thing is price of goods and services. See, cost of living is nothing but the price of goods and services itself. So here, price like when the inflation is higher, what happens? Goods and services price will increase, like food, housing, transportation, healthcare, etc. Now, as the retail inflation is decreasing, what happens? The price of goods and services also will come down. Further, value of currency. So, it's the same purchasing power, that is value of currency. So, CPI shows how much the value of Indian rupee has changed relative to the price of goods and services. So, basically, the CPI is telling us that value of currency, purchasing power, and also cost of living and also price of goods and services. That is why the CPI is a measuring index of the inflation. CPI is the measuring index of inflation considered by the RBI, that is Reserve Bank of India. Clear? Now, next. The next article is about the Global Gender Gap Report. Global Gender Gap Report. Who gives this Global Gender Gap Report? Basically, it is given by the World Economic Forum. So, now let's discuss about the Global Gender Gap Report and also in specifically about the India's Gender Gap Report. Clear? So, the article has mentioned that World Economic Forum's Global Gender Gap Report 2025 has marked India at the place of 131 out of 148 countries with a parity score of 64.1%. That is 64.1%. And also report has been highlighted that India is among the lowest ranked countries in the South Asia. Clear? Remember this. Now let's see. So the report is telling that India have been ranked 131 out of 148. 131 out of 148. Where the score is The gender parity score is 64.1%, and the report indicates that there is a marginal decline of India's rank from last year to now. So the last year position was 129. Now the position is 131. But see, it was out of 146 countries. Now it is out of 148 countries. So previously it was 129 out of 146. Now it is 139 out of 148. Clear? Now next. So this global gender gap report is measured through 4 aspects, 4 dimensions. That is economic participation and opportunity, and other one is health and survival, and other is educational attainment, and further the 4th one is political empowerment. Women in political empowerment. This is all with respect to women. Comparison between men and women. That is only gender gap. The gap between men and women. So economic participation and opportunity, other is health and survival, the other one is political representation, and the 4th one is education attainment. So India is almost good in these 3 sectors, but it is very poor in this political empowerment. Let's see further details. So if we see in detail, economic participation, it has improved by 0.9 points, that's it, where reaching 40.7%. So earned income parity also increased to 29.9%, but it is very much, it is very far from the global standards. You can see it has just increased by 0.9%. Clear? See, women topic is very much important for the UPSC. They will be asking in mains, they will be asking in prelims. So be prepared and collect the statistics like this. Then you can write in your mains answer writing also. And further education attainments, there is a positive thing, that is it has scored 97.1%, reflecting improvements in female literacy and also tertiary educational sector. Further, health and survival, yes, there is a positive, that is it showed progress with the better sex ratio and also increased health life expectancy. Clear? Next. So there is a positive in these 3 aspects. There is one negative, that is in the political representation of women. Though 33% of reservation was fixed for the women in Lok Sabha and also in state legislative assemblies, but still it has to be enacted. It is not enacted because the delimitation has to take place, the census has to take place, then therefore that amendment act will come into the picture. So there is now lack in the political empowerment. So continued decline for the 2nd consecutive year, where female MPs dropped from 14.7% to 13.8%, and women ministers have fell from 6.5% to 5.6%. Clear? Remember this and write in your answers. So overall gender parity worsened due to decline in the representation in the public leadership roles of the women. Clear? So there are 3 positives and 1 negative. Now further, if we see India with our neighboring countries, so best performer in South Asia is Bangladesh, where it ranked 24th globally, and besides that, other South Asian countries are Nepal ranking 125, Sri Lanka ranking 130, Bhutan ranking 119, Maldives ranking 138, and Pakistan ranked 148th. Almost it is last in the South Asia. What is India's rank here? 131 out of 148. Clear? Yeah, 131 out of 148 countries. Clear? So, who is best performer among South Asia? It is the Bangladesh. Clear? Bangladesh ranked 24th globally. Nepal 125, Sri Lanka 130, Pakistan last 148 position, Maldives ranked 138 and Bhutan ranked 119. Clear? Now, what are the top 10 countries? Top 10 countries, first place goes to Iceland. Next is Finland, third is Norway, fourth is UK, fifth is New Zealand. Clear? First position goes to Iceland, second position Finland, third Norway, fourth is UK, that is United Kingdom, and fifth is New Zealand. Clear? These are the rankings with respect to India and its neighborhood countries. Done. Next. And also, World Economic Forum has said that, report also said that full parity remains, for achieving the full parity, that is 100%, we have to still wait like 123 years more. Clear? So next, let's see like what are the World Economic Forum reports, other World Economic Forum reports. So one is Global Competitiveness Report. Remember, Global Competitiveness Report, Energy Transition Index, Global Risk Report, this is important. And other is Global Travel and Tourism Report. These four are important, remember this. So, Global Gender Gap Report is given by World Economic Forum, and further Global Competitiveness Index, Energy Transition Index, Global Risk Index, and also Global Travel and Tourism Report is also given by the World Economic Forum. Clear? Now, coming to the third article. The third article is about the state and trends of carbon pricing. Carbon pricing 2025. Now, who has given this report? So, this report is given by the World Bank. What is the report about? State and trends of the carbon pricing 2025. Now, let's see what is carbon pricing. Carbon pricing is very much important topic for the environment. For the environment subject in UPSC. See, simple terms, carbon pricing. Two terminologies are there. Break it down. Pricing of the carbon. Clear? So, we are keeping some tax or we are pricing the carbon. Clear? Why we are pricing and what is the issue? Let's see further. So, carbon pricing is an economic tool which is designed to assign a cost to the emission of the greenhouse gas emissions, which encourages emission reductions and internalizes the climate change externalities. For example, floods, health costs. These are the climate change externalities. That is, they are causing, they're becoming more due to the climate change. Clear? So, what is carbon pricing? Simply it is nothing but keeping some amount of tax or keeping some amount of pricing for the carbon. Clear? Now, for whom we are pricing this? For the countries who are producing more greenhouse gases or for the countries who are producing more carbon dioxide. Clear? Now, further let's see the types of carbon pricing mechanisms. The very first thing we all know is carbon tax, cap and trade tax, and also carbon credit simply. So, first, if you see the carbon tax, that is nothing but we will fixed amount will be there where if the countries are exceeding the carbon price, then we will keep the sanctions or will collect the tax. Clear? So, carbon tax is nothing but a fixed price per ton of carbon dioxide emissions. For example, per ton of fossil fuel carbon content, will keep some money for that. Done. Next is emission trading system, where we will tax on the emissions or the emitters. Clear? So, a cap and trade system where emitters buy or sell permits to emit a certain amount of carbon dioxide under preset limit. So, simply it is nothing but emission trade system where, see, if I am an emitter, I am emitting some excess amount of carbon dioxide. Further, what I will do is, I will buy a certificate from low emitting carbon dioxide industries such that the buying and selling will happen. So that I will be having certain limit and you will be having certain limit. Now what happens? I am emitting more than the prescribed limit. You are emitting less than the prescribed limit. Now what I will do? I will take a certificate from you that excess amount of I will get the permission to excess more. That is, more means to tell your limit. Clear? So that is the emission trading system where I will buy from you and you will sell your certificate to me. Clear? Now, carbon crediting or credit mechanism, that is simply nothing but, see, it is tradable credits for verifiable emission reductions or removals. Example, you have to plant more trees, that is afforestations, or you have to capture the methane. Clear? Direct air capture.